we go to the news, we go to line number 8. Say good morning to the independent member of the House of Assembly, Mouth Pearl, Southlands, Paul Lane. Paul, you're on the air.
Good morning, Paddy. How are you this morning?
Top shelf, other than this little tickle in my throat, but I'm all right.
That's good. Good. Glad to hear it.
Good.
Paddy, I wanted to discuss briefly, because I know we're up against the clock to some degree, but the Muskrat Falls inquiry, and I want to say, I guess from the get-go, that I was pleased to finally hear the Premier say that he would be moving forward with an inquiry, and of course we knew that all along he was saying he was going to wait till the project was over because it was going to somehow delay the project, which I certainly, as one person, thought was absolute hogwash, to be honest with you. But I'm glad he's changed his tune, and he said that he's going to move forward with an inquiry. That's a good thing. That being said, though, there's a difference in moving forward with an inquiry and actually doing it properly. And I guess that's where I have the concern. And I'm not saying it's not going to be done properly, but I do have some concerns about it. For one thing, I think it's important, personally, that we have a forensic audit prior to the inquiry, that be part of it. And when I say forensic audit, I'm not just talking about from a financial point of view, but also from an engineering point of view, to have some independent expert eyes to go in and look at the, forecasts that were predicted in terms of what the cost would be, and to look at it from an expert's point of view and say, were these reasonable? Were these rational forecasts? Where did they come up with these costs and forecasts and so on, and to make sure that was done properly, as well as the financial piece. And from that, of course, we're going to find out exactly, hopefully, who knew what, when, who signed off on certain things, if it was, fell within normal business practices and accounting standards and HR practices and so on. So I think that part has to be done first before we get into the actual inquiry itself. Now,
fair enough, but hold on, Paul.
Okay,
so you were privy to information that many of us were not. Did you ever see anything that you went, wait now, that doesn't really sound right to me? I don't really know and understand where these things are coming from. Mm-hmm. You had access to information that the vast majority of us did not. We could ask questions till we were blue in the face and we couldn't get any answers. Yeah. Did you see anything that you think should be of a concern for the inquiry?
Paddy, I would swear on a stack of Bibles right now if I had them that the information that the public had is the information that I had. I'm sure that the cabinet of the day, the minister, the department, the premier, so on, they would have been privy to a lot more information than members of caucus were. Members of caucus were basically given the same information as the public was given. This whole idea with the rate calculator and all that stuff, that was presented to us in the same way it was presented to the public. The reports that were done on the alternatives and so on, that's what was given to us. I was given nothing any more than members of the general public was given.
Did you question any of it?
Concerned and angry about what's gone on in terms of the huge overruns and delays and everything else.
Did you question any of it at the time?
Yes. I mean, like, for example, we questioned the whole issue around methylmercury, which has come up now. And, we were told that, that they had a plan to deal with methylmercury, that, yes, this type of project, for example, would impact methylmercury, but they would have mitigation measures in place that would take care of that. Now, I'm not an engineer. I don't know what those measures are or if they would be effective or not. We were told that they were in place and it would deal with it. When it came to the issue of the North Spur, a question which has still not been answered satisfactorily, I actually went because people were raising the issue of the North Spur prior to sanction. So I actually went to Nalcor's AGM at the Holiday Inn. I was the only member of the House of Assembly that was in attendance from any party. And I went there because I wanted to hear the answer to those questions. And that question was raised, and Mr. Martin referred to Mr. Bennett, who stood up and said, we have an engineering solution in place to deal with the North Spur. It's been a long-standing issue. We're well aware of it. And, by the way, it's contained within the DG3 numbers, which at the time was just slightly over $6 billion. So, things that... So a lot of these questions were raised then, and Nalcor and that said that they had the answers, they had the solutions, it was within the costs, and we could only go by what we were told. And unless I was going to sit up in a meeting and say to people from NELCOR and Department of Natural Resources, "Boy, you're lying to me, I don't believe you."
Well, still at this point in time,
At the end of the day,
NALCOR's made their own problems here, especially with the North Spur. No technical oversight, no independent peer review of their specific plan for it. Even the people they reached out to, the engineers, they all said they don't have enough information to make a determination. We cannot get any clear understanding of who has the contract and how much they're being paid. We have no independent sources to either validate and or to caution or criticize anything. So we've had Steve Bernander and Jim Gordon and others chime in, but we're all talking about it from a position of ignorance because we have no earthly idea. And for them to say continuously that they've been investigating since the 60s and we have an engineering solution, that's all fine and dandy. But when we can't get any actual technical answers, then of course people are worried. I mean, they've made their own problems here. Paul, I got to go to the news. I'll let you wrap up quick.
Okay, no problem. So, Paddy, I guess I just wanted to say I wanted to reiterate the fact I think we need a forensic audit. I also think that in terms of the terms of reference, I really don't like the idea of the Premier and the Cabinet and the Department deciding what that's going to be. I don't like any idea that NELCOR would be involved. I think that needs to be done independently. They should appoint somebody to head this up, whether it's a judge or some other independent person. Let that person be involved in developing the terms of reference after we have a debate in the House of Assembly so that members can have some input and also some way that people, interested parties in the general public could feed into that to the person in charge of the inquiry to say these are things we think should be included in the terms of reference, and let that independent person decide then based on all the information received, what should be in, what should be out, and that way we know it's done fairly, it's done independently, it's done properly, and to simply leave it in the hands of politicians of any stripe, of any party, is wrong, and we're going to start off on the wrong track if that's what we do.
That's how we got where we are.
Absolutely.
Appreciate your time. Thanks, Paul.
Not a problem, Paddy. Have a great day. Always a pleasure.
You too. Bye-bye.